Hey everybody, welcome. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm sitting back a little bit today because I'm going to demonstrate some exercises for you, or one particular exercise for you. So this is by far the most common exercise that I recommend in practice. And the reason for that, I think, is mostly because we all just sit too much. Now, the research says that your average office worker sits for about 16 hours a day. That was some research done by the Chiropractic Association. And so 16 hours a day, that includes obviously sitting at work, it includes sitting at home, in the car between, on the couch at home, in front of the computer, in front of the laptop, watching Netflix, all of that sort of stuff. That all counts as sitting. All right, so 16 hours a day we sit. I think the research went on to say that we sleep for something like what was it now? It was just about an hour anyway. Sorry, we sleep for about 7 hours. And what that meant was that there was it was less than an hour that was left in the week, or in the day I should say, that we were actually moving. All right. So we spend a huge amount of time sitting. And what tends to happen is when you're sitting, you get short hip flexors. Okay, so your hip flexors are going to shorten. And particularly for many of us, we sit reclined. Okay, and so then if you're sitting reclined, what that means is your posture, you're leaning back with your lower back, but that means you're rounding relative to your trunk, you're rounding forward in your upper back, and then your head is coming forward. Okay, what that looks like when it comes into the posture is we see a lot of people with an anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so they tilt forward in their pelvis, and then they round forward in their upper back, they round forward in their head, but they don't walk around looking at the ground all day. So what they do right up the top here in their neck at C1 is they then hyperextend at C1, okay? And so what we want to do, and what we need to understand is that ligaments deform over time, okay? So the longer you're under that load for, the more of an impact that's going to have on your body. And so, first of all, what that means is you want to get up and move as much as you can during your day. You know, ideally every 20 minutes you get up and move so that you're not loading up those ligaments so much. That might be just to go to the bathroom, to get a glass of water. Literally, if all you do is stand up, walk around your chair and sit back down again, it's at least breaking that load and the time over which that load is on your ligaments, and that can actually help. So get up, get moving as much as you can, drink lots of water because it is really good for your muscles and your ligaments. But also understand that in order to undo that, you need to do something else that's going to help reverse that over time. It can't just be a 10-second stretch, a 30-second stretch, even a 1-minute stretch. You need to do it for a period of time. So if I've got people in my practice who are rounded in that upper back, whose head is coming forward, which is, to be honest, most people, it's an absolute pandemic in our modern society, this one, but you need to have your head on one end and you need to have your tail on the other end, okay, because that's what's going to allow it to work. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be trying to lengthen out that lower back, tuck that sacrum or that pelvis back underneath, all right, and so lengthening out that lower back, we're going to lengthen out that neck, right? Bringing that head back, bringing those shoulders back, bringing that curve back into our neck, but then we're going to tuck our chin right down because that's actually going to help to flex that hyperextended C1 up the top. So what that looks like is like this, all right? Your tail is right on one end, you're going to lay down like this, all right? Once you're there and in that position, what I encourage you to do is really try and tuck your sacrum back under, right? Push it so that your back is, as best you can, flat against that roller, all right? That's lengthening out that lower back and it's tucking that sacrum back underneath. And then you're going to do the same at the top here. So the easiest way to do is you put your hand under the top of your head there, you're lengthening out your neck, okay? And you're tucking your chin as tight as you can back in against your head, okay? Now from there, you can add into that, you can straighten out your legs, which is going to help stretch out those tight hip flexors you've got there. And you can straighten out your arms, which is going to help open up this chest and stretch out what is often those tight anterior muscles, either because they've just shortened over time because of your bad posture, or maybe you've been working out in the gym and working on the front and not focusing on the back enough. But either way, for me, it's often quite tight from doing my gym, but also from playing cricket over the years. I tend to be a lot tighter on the front there. And so it's an ongoing process to keep stretching that back. All right. So this is what I encourage people to do 5 or 10 minutes a day, a couple of times a day, ideally, is really going to help make a massive difference to that posture. The other thing that I always recommend to people as well to be mindful of, I'm going to just adjust this. What I also recommend to people to be mindful of before you do this, I generally don't give this to people when they're in their first few weeks of chiropractic care in the practice, because often they have joints in their spine that aren't functioning very well. They've got misalignment in their spine that's then causing nerve interference that's affecting their ability to control their stabilizing muscles. And so I don't want to load up their system too much. I also don't want to be trying to stretch their spine into this ideal posture when a chunk of the joints in their spine aren't actually moving properly, okay? Because then what you're going to do is some of the joints aren't going to be taking up that curvature. You're making other joints work twice as hard as the other one, putting pressure on those, putting stress on those, potentially putting those joints at risk of injury. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself a good chiropractor. You want to get your joints functioning well, moving well, get the pressure away from your nervous system, get that neural control of your stabilizing muscles really good. And then when you add in these sort of stretches and exercises, you're actually going to get much better results. Okay, so once again, I always recommend people not to introduce this in their first couple of weeks, sometimes even their first couple of months of chiropractic care, because I want to get the function of their spine, the function of their nervous system, and the functioning of those stabilizing muscles really good before we start introducing these exercises. So I hope this has been beneficial for you. It's a really simple one, it's a really easy one, but it does make a massive difference. People often comment to me, particularly people who do spend a lot of time sitting or know they have bad posture. They say that for every inch your head comes forward, you end up with 10 times the weight on those muscles at the back of your neck and shoulders. So for those people who often feel a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders, potentially also headaches as a result of those tight suboccipital muscles, then this is a really useful one, and people often comment that they just feel so much better, that their muscles feel so much more relaxed, that they feel so much less stressed and achy and headachy when they do this one on a regular basis. So give it a go. Let me know how you go. If you've got any questions, make sure you ask them below. And I look forward to hearing how you go with this one, and I look forward to sharing lots more of these videos inside my Healthy Lifestyle Choices group. Welcome to the group, incidentally, if this is your first introduction. Thanks for coming on board. Feel free to share this with as many people as you like. Let's get a whole army of passionate, enthused wellness warriors into this group, sharing great information, getting the right information so we can create a healthier world. Thank you.